Hi guys, it's Gemma here from Fundamentals Sports and Fitness, and I'm just going to go through a bit about my injury history and kind of the reasons why I got into personal training. Now, loads of my clients will have already heard the story and kind of know the reasons behind it, but also it helps me certainly know where you guys are coming from as well, and how sort of scary and nerve-wracking it can be when you're then wanting to start training again. So I was in my early 20s and I was getting a lot of lower back pain, and most of it was all coming through playing football. So I used to be training sort of 3-4 times a week, either football related, gym related, and then I'd be playing matches twice a week as well. So it was a good standard of football, but over the winter, I was just finding I was getting in more and more pain. I couldn't really pinpoint exactly what it was until a couple of games I finished, and I was then struggling to walk afterwards. Now, I knew I'd taken a couple of nasty challenges during the games, but didn't really think any more of it. And you kind of never think that in your, I say I must have been 21, just finishing uni, and I say any more of it, thinking nothing sort of this serious can be happening at that age. And yeah, woke up the next morning and was in absolute agony, couldn't move. Hurt to walk, hurt to carry anything, and all I could really do was lay down. So I got myself straight into a physio, and we did lots of work looking to strengthen my back and again get me to that point where I could manage the pain, and kind of went through back that cycle of, okay, yep, I can play again, I can train again, this is fantastic, but the same thing happened within the space of the same season, so only a few months later. And at this point I just didn't know what to do with myself, so I again was back at the physio looking at the exercises I could be doing, having a lot of treatment, a lot of massages, again trying to sort things out. By this point I then was seeing a consultant as well, because we wanted to get to the bottom of what was going on. And from seeing him and then having a lot of MRI scans on my spine, we then noticed sort of severe disc degeneration of my L4 and L5, so that's right at the base of my spine, which again helped indicate why I was having shooting pains going down my legs. Any touch on my back was agony, it was like hot pokers going onto it, and it just meant that I couldn't do anything. Now, disc degeneration, the more you research it, everybody has it at some point, but it's more likely to happen in later life, not in your early 20s. So again, a lot of that's put down to the amount of training I was doing, and the amount of impact work that was happening. So it basically meant that I just had vertebrae on vertebrae. There was no discs between them, so all the spongy sort of shock absorbent type of thing had disappeared, which is why I was in so much pain. The consultant from that point, I say, was able to diagnose what the problem was. His solution was to say, well, you'll never play sport again, yeah, that was kind of it. You can have steroid injections to ease the pain, but or you could look down the surgery route. Now, for me, I didn't want surgery, because once something has already been interfered with, you've got nowhere else to go. And at that point, so early on, I was like, there's got to be more I can do. I tried steroid injections and didn't really find they made any difference for me, but I know some people have had good results with them. But again, for the amount of pain that the needles were, for the very short-term benefit, it just wasn't worth it for me. So yeah, I was kind of left at that point from the consultant was, you'll never play sport again. So bearing in mind, I worked in sport, I was coaching every day, I was lifeguarding, I was training, as I mentioned, sort of 4 times a week, playing twice. It's a massive blow, it's complete sort of lifestyle change. So went back to the physio, and she just went, look, there's nothing to stop you training, we just need to change the way you train, and that's going to then sort of again have a big mindset shift on the type of training and the exercises that I'm doing, but in the long run it's made me a lot stronger. because we've then used the muscles around my spine to do the supporting work that the disc should have done instead. So yeah, it's a lot of hard work and a lot of hard training, but it got me to the point where I was able to go in a gym again, which I wasn't able to do. I couldn't, say at one point, even go for a run. Which is really, really tricky when everything that you do, all your friends are based, friendship groups, everything's based around sport. So that's where I kind of know that the sort of those limiting factors, how frustrating it can feel that you wanting to be able to do stuff, but every time you do it hurts. You're worried that if you do push things too much, that you're just going to set yourself back, or you might end up with those pains again. Let's say I got to that point that I was able to exercise again, a good level within the gym. But again, I took that bit of a mindset shift and thought, right, okay, well, if I can't play football and I can't do the stuff that I'm doing all the time, I went travelling for a year, so got myself out of it completely by the time I'd got my back into a good position. In Australia I was surfing, I was wakeboarding, we climbed, we hiked, we did everything and anything you could imagine. So when I came back I was like, brilliant, I can compete to the same level that I was doing before. Tried playing football again, and just again the impact, it didn't like it, the twisting, the turning motions. So again, needed that shift of sport. I knew I could run, but anything above a 5k, my back started to ache again. Again, it was just that impact, it didn't like it. So I needed something that was a bit more adrenaline based, and that's where I then found obstacle course racing. And from that bit, I say I haven't really looked back now. Always trying to find something to challenge myself with. Again, I always keep myself to the shorter distances, because I know if I go longer, my back is going to be quite painful. I'll always end up setting myself back a few weeks. And I'm always in that bit of going, I need to be doing the exercises to make sure my back is in a good position. It's all well and good and I'm terrible for it. If I'm not in any pain, I'll think, I don't need to worry about doing the exercises. I stop doing the exercises, the back pain comes back. So kind of walking, talking proof really that you can exercise with severe back pain. I say I'd got to the point that I struggled to walk, that any movement hurt. I'm kind of back at the drawing board at the moment. Again, going through and the winter cold months of that rehab work as I start building again for the race season coming up. Because the last few races did put more pressure on my back, and it's definitely taken its toll on it. There is always a light at the end of the tunnel for it. So don't think because you've got a severe injury and it's going to be with you forever that it's going to stop you doing anything. That's the mindset bit I want to kind of get people out of, because I know that you can do exercise when you've been given sort of a diagnosis that you can't. If you do have any questions, or you think you've got an injury that is going to limit you or stop you, please get in touch and don't be afraid to exercise. You just need the right help, support and guidance, and understanding that you can do something. And I know that's certainly the case for me. And without that physio that I had, looking at that mindset shift of giving me exercises that were right, and being able to build everything slowly, I don't let nothing stop me now. I just have to find a different way sometimes of doing things. So get in touch. I'd love to hear some of your stories about sort of certain injuries you've had, what you've had to do to overcome them. Get in touch.